Dick Cheney just endorsed Kamala Harris. Like, Dick Cheney. It's kind of a cool, no, I mean, I'm not saying, really? So they get a guy who believes you should kill people for profit. We get Bobby Kennedy. I think that's fine. I mean, I'm actually pretty, I'm kind of happy about it. He and his horrible daughter, his repulsive little daughter. Anyway, sorry, not to make it personal. She put a friend of mine in jail, and I texted her. I knew her really well. I texted her. I said, I can't, examine your conscience, Liz. She never spoke to me again, but I meant it. She has no conscience. But okay, so let's just get specific really quick. I love what you said. On the question, we'll just pick one. Well, pick it because I can't say this enough, on the brink of nuclear exchange. People I know who know a lot about this are very afraid right now, this evening, September 13th, 2024. So I'm upset about it. How do we get here? Well, we got here not because Republicans are like, no, really, the border of some Eastern European country I can't find is much more important than the border at Laredo. No, we got here because our ruling class decided that this was the most important adventure going. And then we have a leadership change in the Republican Party, and Mike Johnson from Louisiana, who I knew is like sort of a normal person, comes in and announces within like a week that his top priority is funding for Ukraine. And I called him and I was like, what? And he did not give me a straight answer. I don't know the answer. How does a guy like Mike Johnson, who always seemed like a nice guy to me, how does he wind up buying into a lie like that has no connection to the preference of the actual American public and that could get our country destroyed? How did he get there?
Yeah, and look, I have a similar relationship with Mike Johnson. I give him grace, then I get really mad, and then I give him grace, and then I get really mad. And he forgives actually amazingly well when I call him out and I say that he's destroying the country. So I have to give him credit for that. You know what set me off with Mike Johnson?
There are so many things, I don't know.
When he as a lawyer voted to say that the FBI doesn't need to get a warrant to spy on us as American citizens. That drove me crazy.
I'm sure they won't abuse it. The Biden administration just put Tulsi Gabbard on the terror watch list. She serves in the US military right now.
And the intel agencies have spied on your text messages.
A lot,
and probably spied on mine. I mean, they're spying all of us. And here's Mike Johnson, who goes and casts the tie-breaking vote, which is very rare for a Speaker of the House to do, exceedingly rare. Basically, all of it would have said is like, hey, FBI, you have to get a warrant before you spy on American citizens' text exchanges. He said, no, I want to give the Biden FBI, in the middle of a campaign season, unrestricted access to all Trump campaign emails, all text messages, all phone calls. And I found that to be so reckless and irresponsible. Do you know what was the kicker though? You can go back for 7 years. For 7 years when he was on a committee, he was totally against the FISA statute. And as soon as he became Speaker of the House, he's like, well, I think it's very important because a bunch of Americans are going to die if we don't have the warrants and if we don't have all this.
But therein lies the mystery, and it's a sincere mystery. And I even asked him, like, you seem nice. When did you become a monster? And people are not self-aware enough to give clear answers to questions like that. But you know him. What happened?
I can't speak to that. Again, I can say though that he is a creature. He's a symptom of this machine, where unless you have the fortitude of somebody like Donald Trump or Bobby Kennedy, who you're willing to get shot at, see your uncle shot, see your dad shot, see yourself indicted, see yourself smeared and canceled, which is a very rare breed. And understand, Donald Trump and Bobby Kennedy have something in common, which Thomas Massey also has, which is a genetic deformity, by the way, which is that you happen to be likable, but you don't care what people think about you. Very, very hard to find that combination. And so Donald Trump and Bobby Kennedy, that's what makes them such a threat to the system. Mike Johnson would be an amazing chair of an elder board of a local church. I have no doubt, right? No, I mean that.
As long as things were going well, he'd be great.
No, right, exactly. Like the tithes and the offerings are, but hey, if they have to go like build a new cafeteria, like get them out of the way, right? But this goes to the point is that and I have some sympathy for him, some not, because he didn't want the job and he got the job and fine. But he was not the person to stand up to the CIA or the FBI. These are the most powerful institutions on the planet, and they just had him for lunch, literally. One security briefing, he's like, oh, well, I got briefed in a skiff. And at a skiff, a bunch of generals come in with their medals, and they do a bunch of woo-woo, and they say, here we have the A-Rod region and the D-Slam. And if we don't spy on all the text messages of the MAGA faithful in Manhattan, Kansas, we might have another 9/11. And he says, well, that makes perfect sense to me. We might as well keep on having that. And so,
as soon as they release the classified 9/11 documents, then I'll know what 9/11 was, and I'll be able to understand that metaphor.
Right, well, and I totally agree. By the way, Donald Trump should declassify all JFK, RFK, Malcolm X, MLK, and 9/11 documents on day one. Do we agree?
Can I just ask you a question? Because sometimes it's more revealing to flip things, do the photographic negative of something, the reverse of it. What would be the justification for keeping those documents secret?
JFK?
9/11 was 23 years ago. Like, why can't I see it? I lived here then. I know someone who died. Like, no, I don't have a right to see that? Why?
I totally agree. The 9/11 excuse, they say, well, people are still alive that know stuff. That's all a bunch of nonsense.
Well, I'm still alive and I want to know. No, I paid for it. I live here. I'm a citizen. What?
No, of course. Sorry, I just love it.
Sorry, it just enrages me.
We're going to get to the point, by the way, where we're going to be so disconnected from the JFK assassination, it will be like the Lincoln assassination. It'll be like 170 years, and they'll say, no, we have to keep it declassified. Let's just talk about JFK. It's so obvious why they're keeping that declassified. Because at the very least, the government knew it was going to happen, and at the probable, the government was involved in the assassination of JFK. And therefore, this is important, because therefore, it is an introductory radicalization event. And they know that. An introductory radicalization event is what all of you had during COVID, which is where you start to then go down a sequence of questions, and once you begin, there's no stopping you. Wait a second, they just told us to wear masks when I shower. Like, that doesn't make any sense.
Wait, it's not safe and effective?
Like, wait, my aunt's on her 11th booster and she has COVID more than I do. That's weird. And so an introductory radicalizing event is when all of a sudden, basically the inner question asker within you is liberated. You guys all know exactly what I'm talking about, right? And at that moment, you're the most dangerous you could possibly be to tyranny and to an illegitimate regime. And JFK assuredly has elements of that. That if we get to the facts, again, we don't know, but we can speculate. We know that Lee Harvey Oswald didn't act alone. We know that there's some very suspicious stuff, the motorcade slowing down, what happened to JFK's head, what happened to the grassy knoll, why Zapruder got it on film, head went back to the right. Again, this is not a JFK presentation, but like I can watch.
Let's go, Charlie Kirk.
I'm just being honest, right? And they're very elementary telling that Lee Harvey Oswald from the Texas School Book Depository, who was a bad shot in his class with a single bolt action rifle, was able to get off that many rounds in a short period of time with pinpoint accuracy, be able to get JFK twice in the head, and then also penetrate the governor of Texas without a second shooter yet. Every witness said, yeah, there was something kind of there on that hill. Like, shut up, we're going to cancel you. Of course something happened there. All of a sudden, if there is a second shooter at the grassy knoll, therefore, the government lied about it, covered it up, was probably involved. Therefore, it asks the question, what else is our government involved in? And it is the beginning of the end of the illegitimacy of this government. And they know that. So they must keep it declassified.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. We hope you'll subscribe to it. And by the way, you can hit the little bell on there and get notifications every time we produce a video. We hope you'll do that also.